Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Obviously, this is a sequel to the original Ant-Man film from the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and excuse me. Now this is Peyton Reed film again. He directs the action of the hero that shrinks and grows at will. In this case, though, in this film, he doesn't have as much control over it as he used to. He gets a brand new suit that still has a few kinks to work out. But at the same time, he gets a little help in the form of Hope Van Dyne as the Wasp, who gets wings and all sorts of other little blaster gadgets on her wrists. And yeah, he's a little bit jealous. So Paul Rudd is back again as Scott Lang. He is under arrest when we find him. This is a 2018 film. Has it been that long? 2018 film. It's 2 hours flat. 2 hours flat. Yeah, 2018 film. Where was I going with this? It's a movie. This finds Scott a couple years after, 2 years technically, after being arrested for helping out Captain America in Germany fight against Iron Man and some other Avengers in a superhero civil war. So you might remember that in Captain America Civil War. Well, due to this, he gets imprisoned, as we saw at the end of Civil War. But in this case, he gets house arrest because he's kind of just an average schmo who was using a costume that he didn't really own or anything. So he's under house arrest in San Francisco, where he lives, and his daughter comes over, gets weekends with her daddy, and Cassie is their name, and possible future Young Avenger. Spoilers. She gets to hang out with him, and we get to see the fun that daddy and daughter have together on a regular basis. He's making the most of it, his time in lockdown. He has an ankle bracelet that whenever he leaves even slightly, goes slightly past the perimeter of his property, everybody, the FBI just swarms the place and starts going over every detail, every little inch of the place. And by the way, one of those, I gotta make sure I get his name right here. I keep forgetting. Come on, where are you? Randall Park plays Jimmy Woo. And he is one of those agents. Since there's no shield anymore to keep track of this kind of thing, the FBI is under control of a number of high-powered situations. But Randall Park, which we will see in the upcoming WandaVision series on Disney Plus, he's in that. And and you realize I forgot so many different parts of this film. Michelle Pfeiffer plays Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp, in the comics, and as we see in the very beginning of this film, in the movie, in the MCU, she is kind of important. We only get a hint of the potential of what she provides and how she may connect in a humongous way to the quantum realm, obviously, when it comes to Ant-Man, when it comes to WandaVision, when it comes to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and who knows what else. So, we're going to see she could be so humongously important. By the way, speaking of Michelle Pfeiffer, the very beginning of the film, obviously they did the de-aging digital effects on Michael Douglas, who plays Hank Pym, Dr. Hank Pym, who created the Pym particles that allows them to shrink and grow. Janet's his wife. They did the de-aging stuff on him in the last film, along with a few others, but they do a job with her that it's flawless. Usually I'm a lot more critical, and you can usually see just how not so great some of this de-aging technology is. And yes, like when they did it with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen in the X-Men 3 film, and just it even also at the end of X-Men Origins, and how plastic and bad. Yes, that was many years ago, and the technology has improved incredibly, but Michelle Pfeiffer looked dead on perfect to me. That's just me, but I was looking at her and going, oh, this is how I always picture her. She's gorgeous at any age, but still, it's the idea that this is her and looking like her in her early 30s or something, maybe. It's kind of crazy how well they did her. And, of course, well, I'm not going to tell anything else about her. Just say Janet Van Dyne seems to be set up with she's not a minor actress. Seems to be setting up to be possibly a humongous piece of a puzzle when it comes to the multiverse in years to come. That's my guess. We get a lot of different people in this film. There's a lot of great actors. People I love. Walton Goggins plays a bit of a, not a gangster, but he's a bad guy. He's great at playing bad guys. He wants to get his hand on some technology. He is trying to make deals with the PIMS, and then double and triple crosses people along the way. We also have the Ghost, which is played by, I'm going to make sure I get her name right, Hannah John-Kamen. I'm sorry. Sorry, Hannah John-Kamen. Not for not pronouncing your name properly. But she plays the Ghost. Now, the Ghost in the comics is this kind of weird, lanky lanky man that's just sort of creepy, kind of like a ghost. But here they make her a woman of a certain level of desperation where she cannot handle her physical being, where she has the ability to pass through solid objects. It makes her a great assassin, thief, mercenary. So when she's set against the Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp, she's a formidable threat. And I'm not going to ruin who she's involved with, but you'll see it as we go along. If you haven't already seen this film, I mean, obviously, if you're a Marvel fan, you already know what I'm talking about. You already know what's going on in this, and you've loved it or hated it, depending on what type of fan you are. I don't know. But other people who are in this, obviously, Judy Greer as Scott's ex-wife. Who else? Oh, Lawrence Fishburne plays Dr. Bill Foster. Now, to Marvel fans, this is a well-known name. Bill Foster was Giant Man for a while, and there's references to his ability to grow when he used to be friends with Hank Pym, and they experimented on things together. So yeah, Bill Foster was one of the earliest giant men after Hank himself, obviously. But well, one of my favorite little things in here is the character. Where is he? Oh, he's sitting there down there. Oh, he's Elias Starr. Elias Starr, played by Michael Severus. My eyes are not good. Michael Severus. He was an actor who played on Fringe. I recently rewatched that entire series with some friends of mine. He played September, and if you understand who September is, you'll understand the really huge importance he has in relation to other realities and time travel and things like that. So something makes me wonder or wish that there was a connection between the two, but that's not the case. So that's neither here nor there. But we got a lot of good. We got of course, Michael Pena's back, and I love the fact that they were able to get him to do his rapid patter, explain everything attitude, or explain everything sequence as he did in the first film. They found a way to have him revisit that moment, which is always hilarious, where he tells way too much of a story in too much detail in his just rapid fire pace, and then they superimpose the sequences with the people he's speaking for, mouthing his words. It's beautiful. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, no, for me, this is, I'm trying to think, I don't know if I saw this more than once in the theaters, maybe once or twice at least. I usually see, especially at the Avengers films, I see a bunch of times. But maybe I only saw this once or twice. So it was nice to being able to revisit this after 2 years now. And it makes sense that it's 2 years gone now that I think of it, because as you will see, of course, you always, as a Marvel film, you want to stick around during the credits and after the credits. The end after credits sequence is not important. It's not a big deal. It's a little more of a funny bit. Um, but the mid credit sequence is incredibly huge for those of you who are wondering when this took place, in what period of time this took place um, in the MCU in relation to in the Infinity War with Thanos. Well, you'll get your answer in the mid-credits sequence. It's it's pretty obvious where this falls, and it's good to understand, to see this sequence. If you don't see the rest of the movie and you only care about the Infinity War and Endgame, it's kind of important to see this one sequence in order to see where everything fits together. Because the next time we see Scott Lang is in Endgame, and this sort of gives you a reason why he is where he is. One of the great things about this, I mean, this was still being put out in the era of the 3D era of film, the film experience. So, yeah, it was great seeing 3D, especially when you're dealing with micro and macro and big and small perspective type filming. It's beautifully shot, but even without the 3D, it's still fun. One of the things I really liked about this is, like, when they're in the quantum realm, in different points, you see all these little fractals, and it just the amount of color that comes through, just sort of like the amount of color that was used in the Doctor Strange film. Connections. I kind of wish I had a 4K television. I wish I was watching this on a 4K television, because I imagine the color depth on that has to look astounding when watching on Disney Plus or your Blu-ray or 4K disc or whatever. But yeah, it looks great just even watching it on a computer screen. But even more so, if you get a chance and you were planning on watching this, and I think hopefully there's a 4K version of this streaming on Disney Plus. You've got a 4K TV, put it on, see what it looks like. It's pretty astounding. Before we move on to the next thing, there's one little thing I love about certain movies is the location, just the location shooting of certain scenes. Yeah, a lot of stuff is shot in LA, even though they say it's New York or it's, Hawaii or whatever else. All this stuff is... There's a Hawaii unit on this film, by the way. I don't know why. But there's a scene... This takes place in San Francisco, and there's a scene where they leave Hank Pym's office, and they're like, well, aren't you worried people are going to find your office? And he shrinks it down. Spoiler. He shrinks it down to just a little cooler size, sized box, and with a carry handle on top. And he can drag it like luggage. That was shot. I was able by using freeze framing it for a second and looking at the stores that are nearby and trying to map that out. It's just fun for me. I was able to find out exactly where that was shot, and it's at 1517 Harrison Drive, in Oakland, California. So if you ever go there. I sleuthed it out. It's just by bringing up Google Maps and hunting it down. Let's see. I'm going to make absolutely sure. It's going to load it up here slowly. Someday. Come on. 1517 Harrison Street, Oakland, California. Yeah. So if you're in that area, stop by. You can see the exact lot where that was shot, and it's a parking lot. So it's but it's still cool. I like little things like that. Of course, I highly recommend this film. Paul Rudd is always awesome, and it's got an amazing cast. So, yeah. It's funny. It's full of great action. Of course, they excel at being the heist films of the MCU. This is also an action-packed chase scene. Just imagine Bullet being filmed in modern day, except with shrinking and growing cars down all those steep hills in San Francisco. So, why not? All right, Bullet is an old movie. Ask your parents. All right, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
94.
94. Oh, we're staying double digits here. Really low. 94. Huh. Okay. We are finally going to close out this chapter of this Pixar trilogy. We've seen the first one, we've seen the third one, and now it's finally time, come on, to see Cars 2. Not the best Cars film, but that's all I gotta say today. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Why would I talk about it now? Jeez, greedy. Alright, tomorrow, Cars 2 from Pixar on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow.